And some of the issues that you have raised, for instance, to say wrong people were charged, would you want to review some of those issues? I think those are matters that have come to our attention, but indeed we will be able to come up with a proper implementation plan, which we will be able to give SCOPA, our program of action. I'm not sure, I was pondering on the date to say, would it be a month, would it be sufficient, or would I make it 2 months, to make sure that some of these issues we zoom onto them. I think the details, like I said, there are certain things which are details, which each and every responsible directorate will then be able to deal with their own issues. But issues that are in our lap will then be able to deal with. I'm not sure whether will that suffice, but I'm trying to reconcile what they said and then what we're actually going to deal with. Thank you very much. Unless if HOD you want to, if there are outstanding matters that members have asked, but I think in the main was the issue of consequence management. I do not want to raise other matters, but I think for me those are the issues that I wanted to raise, Chair.
Honourable members, Honourable Silani.
Thank you, Chair. We just want to want the MEC to reassure or reaffirm to us within the time frame which he has already indicated to the honourable members, that within 2 months consequence management will be implemented in the department regarding all those cases which are outstanding within the department, especially what you call your stealing of laptops, everything that is not satisfying us. So within 2 months, the MEC is saying that he will be able to deal with all those matters. So I don't know which modality which can use principal to assist us, we students, that the MEC must just reaffirm, must just affirm. Of course, the mere fact that they appear before the committee is a serious affirmation, but I think he must just reaffirm that really indeed within 2 months but what we do not want within that particular 2 months, we do not want a situation where we are being told that no, they've written a return warning. I know that if we leave it to be like that, they've got a tendency of going back and write a warning that within 6 months such a letter is no longer valid. Therefore, it means that they can continue to, for those who have stolen, to steal the way they've stolen. So we do not want such to happen, of writing letters for 6 months. It's a bad habit for department, especially to implement an account that indeed will implement consequence management. I think this is my advice, Chair. But let the MEC reiterate such particular call to reaffirm that yes, indeed, within 2 months they will implement consequence management, and therefore probably maybe within the next sitting we'll be able to see the report that indeed they did what they promised to us as honourable members of this particular committee. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Silani. Honourable Pala.
Just 2 points. Point 1 is that I think we should accept what the MEC is tabling to the committee and accept it as work in progress. So we accept it, Honorable Chair. That's point one. Point two is that normally he should be doing that at the end of the hearing when he has heard what you are saying on all the questions. Theoretically, we hope that him and particularly the team from the MEC's office and others will take note of the things that we say must still be done. We don't write them down in this case as SCOPA. We say them here as part of the hearing. And they will compile all those things. There are certain things we said on question one. There are certain things we have said now on question that we are dealing with, rounding it off. And we are going to say certain things on the other questions until we finish. That they will consolidate all those and bring like similar to what we told transport, you remember when they were here. So they will bring a progress report of work in progress of what they are doing in relation to those matters. If you get the point, exactly, you remember transport, we gave them certain instructions on certain things that are similar to this, if you remember. They are not different, and that's what this is. That's point two. My final point is that I agree the understanding, Chairperson, of everyone, including the Honorable Simokoni, is that what he is saying there does not bring to a close the public hearing. I'm sure you understand that very well, 100%. So we accept it and we're moving forward. Still they respond to the additional questions we ask on that question, and then we round off and move forward. That's how, because we are already in the middle of a public hearing, and we gave them a chance to go and talk. The public hearing is not suspended or put in abeyance, so they respond to the questions. The MEC keeps quiet, as we have said now. The HOD and the team respond to the additional questions, then we move. That is the process. The MEC will be taking down those things. When we close finally, we will give him time to give the round off like now. We hope his team at the back there, they are taking down some of the things that should be followed up, which will come back like we did with other departments. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pala. I think the line of march is very clear. We are not suspending the responses to those follow-up questions that were raised, the HOD. You still have to respond to them, but we acknowledge the commitment and accept the commitment made by Honorable MEC, who will interact with that plan of action, particularly because there is a general decision of SCOPA that SCOPA resolutions must find expression at the level of portfolio committee, so that portfolio committee can also make some follow-up and monitoring that those resolutions are getting implemented. So at least on this one, I'll be sharing that committee who will interact with this matter together and make sure that we assist the department to move out from unqualified report. The Honorable MEC, can you respond to those outstanding questions through your HOD?
Honorable Chair, thank you very much. Without waste of time, my name is Taro Mukonu, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. I will ask the HOD to deal with the outstanding question.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson, and Honorable Members. My name is Ramatsimen Jekwilin Maisel, the Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. Excuse me. The follow-up questions, hope we recorded all of them. There was a follow-up on the officials responsible for cumulative irregular expenditure of 197 million. If you look at Annexure H, it also speaks to some of the officials, the rendering of security services, responsible officials, Mr. Bola and Mme Masiari, appointment of consultants for construction of Zanani agricultural offices, which we are implementing through public works. As we have indicated also in this annexure that investigation by Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure is still underway. They have not concluded it. We have made follow-ups with them. They indicated that they are still busy with the investigation, and we have since tasked the Chief Financial Officer, Memorandum Katinki, to assist us in that regard as well. So as soon as the investigation is concluded, then we will be able to determine who are the responsible officials. Rendering of security services. The responsible officials, Mr. Kola and Mme Masiari, overpayment of PMDS bonus due to wrong calculations of the formula, wherein we even managed to recover the irregular expenditure. By then it was 1.4 million. We managed to recover 831,000, and 585 is still outstanding. And here it came about as a result of the wrong formula that finance has used to calculate the bonuses that must be paid to the officials. And at the time, the Chief Financial Officer was Memasiel. Then booking of accommodation, which we earlier on touched on it, the ones for international flights. The responsible official is Me Shikwampana, who has since been charged, and the case was concluded. The outcome, I think, is also part of the earlier question, wherein she was given the final written warning. Rendering of IT services. The responsible official here was the Deputy Director, ICT. SCM process not followed when preparing of boreholes was done. This was the case of Vembe, I think it was Capricorn also. It's Capricorn. The responsible officials are in the Capricorn district. I think it was the supply chain Deputy Director, Mrs. Training. Procurement of the diesel at Vembe, I think, is also what has been discussed at length earlier on, that we might have charged the wrong person, but here the responsible person was the manager of Mara Research Station. Employees who did not declare their interest at the time. The regular expenditure was 1.451 million. The investigation or the analysis that was conducted indicated that there were quite a number of officials which we have been interacting with. I think Mr. Mbwana is one of them. Mayor Sophie Mulefe, who has since retired as well. What else? There was another three, Honorable Chair, through you. I think they will be able to get the name just now. Then procurement of irrigation infrastructure at Capricorn district level. The responsible official here is Mr. Maripa, the engineering. He also went through the DC process. SCM process not followed when appointing service providers for procurement of fencing. We have the members of the bid evaluation committee, and I think there is an annexure, Honorable Chair, that outlines even the progress. We've got members of the bid evaluation committee. We also have the CFO and the accounting officer as the officials responsible. I'll check the annexure, Honorable Chair, but then the 31, annexures M, yeah, I think in the minutes annexure M, it outlines the progress on the case of the 62 million. Then appointment of service provider for Professor Tlala, as we indicated, the responsible official was Mema Shiro, who has since passed away. Non-adherence to CIDB requirements when procuring manufacturing equipment at Nojax. The responsible officials based on the internal investigation, Mr. Ndlozi, Memanyaka, and Mr. Maleka. And also to indicate that as we have been reporting, the forensic investigation is still underway, which will also provide further information. So that's the response to who are the responsible officials for the cumulative 197 million. And also a follow-up on why the 2.235 irregular expenditure, why did it occur again? And I think we also explained that it was the final payment of the multi-year work that has started in 2018-19. That is why we had to. It was not discovered by AG. It's ourselves who has disclosed it when we were compiling the financial statements. I think I have covered all the follow-up questions, Honorable Chair. I think others were just the comments, which I think we have acknowledged based on the MEC's commitment, issues of the price markups, of the commissions on diesel and so forth. Thank you.
Honorable members.
No, we said we are putting agreements for our questions in the interest of progress.
All right.
But we of course know that a number of questions that we asked were not responded to, like the one of the 198,000. Msimala asked for who is the person who paid without checking. That's why later it became irregular. Richard, you remember that? Msimala asked that question. Even around the diesel, Msimala asked a lot of questions. How do you buy diesel in Polokwane when you are in Makato almost? Why don't you buy just nearby? And then you want us to trade your transport to buy in bulk from Polokwane. So there are a number of them. But I don't know why they didn't try them. But it's fine.
Are you okay? Honorable Pala,
Yeah?
are you finished?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, thank you. Can we agree that we now move to question, is it 4?
Yes.
And the question 4.
Yes.
And request Honorable Udaga to.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Question 4 is on the SIU investigation proclamation number R36 of 2019, open bracket GG 42577 dated 12 July 2019, close bracket. Executing authority in paragraph 34 of the Auditor General's report. The AG reported that there is an investigation on the mismanagement of comprehensive agriculture support program granted by the SIU in terms of proclamation number R36 of 2019 GG 42577 dated 12 July 2019. The investigation of which is done at national level. 4A, provide the investigation report on the mismanagement of Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program, CASP, run by SIU. 4B, who are the responsible officials? 4C, what disciplinary action did the accounting officer take against the responsible officials? Question 4D, provide the progress made on the implementation of the recommendations. I thank you, Chair.
Can you please read with question 5 because it's just 2 questions.
Question 5, no jack situated in Tsaneni municipality. A, okay, an investigation was conducted internally by the risk management section and the report presented to the Financial Misconduct Board. An external investigation was recommended, and a company named Abacus has been appointed by the Provincial Treasurer. The investigation commenced on the 7th of May 2022. Question 5A, provide a progress report on the implementation of recommendations made by the internal risk management section of the department. B, provide the progress on the implementation of the recommendation made by the external investigators. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Kabum, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. I'll ask the HOD to provide the response.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chair, and members. On question 4, my name is Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisel, Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. I'm looking at Honorable Pala because he has given me the name of Ramadimej. So I'm emphasizing Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisel.
Generally, related names, where you come from, which me and you know that.
Honorable Chair and members, my name is Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisela, the Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. Our response to question 4 is that the investigation by the Special Investigating Unit, SIU, on the mismanagement of Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program is still in progress following the request for information by the SIU, which we received on the 8th of December 2022. And we have since responded on 12th December 2022, and we have attached Annexure I as evidence of the receipt of the questions that were received, as well as the receipt of the request for information from SIU. But we would like to indicate, Honorable Chair and members, that we have since responded to their question. That is why we say the investigation is still underway. The responsible officials, this we are basing this response on the nature of the questions that the SIU has asked us. The information was requested from these following officials: Ms. Kekana EM, who is the District Director for Capricorn District; Mr. Madiwati, Deputy Director for Extension Services in Capricorn; Mr.
Can just refer us to the names are attached and we proceed.
The annex.
I don't read them, the names, yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisel. I'm the Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. So the responsible officials are as per the list stated there. With regard to what is the disciplinary action that the accounting officer has taken against the responsible officials, we would like to respond that the disciplinary process could not be initiated at this stage, as the investigation is underway by the Special Investigative Unit as per that proclamation number. The HOD has also requested a legal opinion to institute an internal investigation, considering that the matter is proclaimed at national level and the investigation is still underway. Here we wanted to check whether we will be in the right legally as the SIU investigate, and then we also investigate internally, and we have attached the letter of request as Annexure J. Honorable Chair and members, I'm not sure whether I should also move to question 5 because I had the question has been read. Thank you. My name is Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisel, the Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. With regard to question number 5, Nojax, situated in Zanin Municipality, an investigation was conducted internally by the Risk Management Section, and the report was presented to the Financial Misconduct Board. An external investigation was recommended, and a company named Abacus has been appointed by Provincial Treasury. The investigation by Abacus commenced on 17 May 2022. The progress on the implementation of all the 2 recommendations which were made by the internal investigation is as follows. Mr. Ndluzi CV, Mr. Malega MS, and Ms. Manyakatidi have been served with the letters wherein they were expected to respond why they should not be charged, in line with the advice on the promotion of administrative justice. The responses were received, I think, from Ms. Manyaka and Mr. Maleka, and further to that, through the labor relations or employee relations, we have already appointed the employer rep who is currently busy drafting the charges, and the plan was to serve them on the 26th of April, which is tomorrow. Then furthermore, the irregular expenditure has been reported in terms of Section 86 of the PFMA to the South African Police Service Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation. And there is a case number which we've been given. When we checked with them, they indicated that they're still busy with the investigation. And as we indicated earlier, the investigation by Abacus company is still underway. We are awaiting the report. With regard to 5B, provide progress on the implementation of the recommendations by the external investigators. We are reporting that both SAPS and Provincial Treasury's investigations are underway, and we have since contacted both institutions to inquire about the progress on these 2 investigations, and our correspondences are attached as Annexure M. So far we have not received the responses as yet. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thanks, HOD members, Honorable Pala.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. In relation to question 4, around Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program CASP, why is it being investigated by the Special Investigation Unit? Is there something fishy that they saw there? Why are they investigating that Comprehensive Agriculture Support Program, number 1? Number 2, now that they are investigating, aren't they doing your work, Honorable Mugoni and HOD, the special investigation? Because the work of running the department and ensuring that monies of the department are safe and they are properly handled is in your hands. That's question 2. Question 3 is, when we ask you who are the relevant, the responsible officials, Chair, they usually give us names. Did you see that? But ask them what is action, you will find them not. All the time up to the last question. That's what we are going to show Mgoni. We hope that as part of the responses he will deal with that. But let's go to, that's my question 3, follow-up question 3. Let's go to those so-called responsible officials there. A dozen of them. Because this matter is a matter of 2018, how many are still in the department? When you look there, just show us how many, or to ask it the other way around, how many have left the department? Yeah. The HR should know how many have either died or resigned or retired of that list there of a dozen officials. And now, Chairperson, let's go through it slowly. This matter aggregate 2018. Now, when we ask them what action, do you see, they have not acted up to now. Because, and that's where the problem is. All the time when you ask them what action, they will find creative reasons why action has not been taken up to now. And I'm sure you saw in relation to the question, this is question 4 and question 5. Both of them, no action. I think you see that, Chair. We're going to show that to MEC Mukunu up to the last question. Every time we ask what action has been taken, no action has been taken. So we're asking the question there, follow-up number 4. Why has action not been taken since 2018? And in relation to this Nojex one, the tomato thing in Zanin, it is, there are a lot of flies there in relation to this Nojex. So what is the progress to date, if we can be told about that? And that annexure K of the 3rd of March, where you wanted still officials to respond. What is the progress now that we are on the 23rd of April? In relation to, and I see there that when we ask you progress on the implementation of the recommendations made by investigators externally, you talk about them. But the question there is, Honorable Mgoni, this one you should have asked yourself when you arrived here from elsewhere. Why is the SIU, the SAPS, and Treasury, and everyone doing investigations in this department? Just tell us, Judy, why is that the case? That, and not in relation to this one only, you will see we are going to go into the 101 cattle, the 120 computers, and the 88 laptops, and things like those. There are always the police are there, there's always SIU, the chairperson, and always people like that doing investigations in the department. Why is that the case? And related to the 2 questions and others, they can actually tell us here, essentially from where they are sitting as the executive authority and the accounting officer, and even dealing with the issues that we dealt with, irregular expenditure, diesel, what is the, from where they are sitting, what is the level of corruption in this department, Chairperson? I hope the portfolio committee, whoever is the chair, will follow that. What is the level of corruption? Is it high? Is it low? Is it non-existent? I want to just if they can talk in general about that. And finally, Chair, because these two categories, as you can see, when the HOD was rounding up, there are also other categories of irregular expenditure that is not regular. Has there been recovery in relation to irregular expenditure to recovery from the officials negligently responsible one, but also recover it from, if it is a service provider who took chances with the department. Recovery is not just the officials. If you saw, I don't know whether you saw it, HOD myself with the PPE procurement of Corona were able to recover from a service provider who takes chances. So we were interested in those, if you can talk to those two, whether in relation to irregular in this department, has there been any recovery from negligent officials who negligently caused the state money to lose money, and or from a service provider who was taking corners and taking chances. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and members. My name is Kawumi Kodi, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. Chair, I'm not sure whether, if I can ask that we must give this progress report, because that's the progress report that the executive authority is using to track down the progress in terms of SCOPA report. As I actually indicated that myself, I'm also interested in the implementation. I think that document, if it can be submitted, I know it comes late, but it's a tool that we are also using to deal with that. And I think in terms of the details, especially on question 4, which in the report has not been highlighted, of the names of the people that are there, which we are still awaiting the forensic outcome. One of the things that the committee asked in the last meeting was to say that there were internal investigation, and there's something that they discovered. What are you also doing about them? I think that's where the HOD will talk to, but obviously where we are waiting external investigators, we will await for that so that we don't have to have a conflict or contradiction in terms of the report, so that we don't have a double jeopardy, because that will cause a problem. But I guess what the Honorable Parla is asking, what is the state of corruption in the department? One of the things that has been discovered is that there's an up and down movement of tenders where they get cancelled, re-advertisement of tenders. You can tell that at the supply chain there's a problem, and this is something that we are trying to handle it. So at that, we know supply chain is always a problem. So that's where we are actually trying to deal with. I'll ask the HOD to deal with the rest.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chair and members. My name is Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisela. With regard to question 1, why is SIU investigating the department? And I think it's also repeated in question 7, why SIU subs treasury and like everyone else is doing investigation. With regard to the SIU, this proclamation was made to the National Department of Agriculture. The SIU is investigating the National Department of Agriculture on the mismanagement of CASP. And as the provincial departments of agriculture, we are receiving the conditional grant of CASP and implementing the conditional grant. Therefore then, the reason we were asked to provide the info, the RFQ, what we normally call RFQ, request for information, and maybe just to indicate, Honorable Chair members, that it's the process of the investigation, the starting, the ending, and so forth, may be outside us as the recipient department. But what we did was to provide the information that has been requested by SIU, as similarly with other provinces as they are starting their investigation. And as we indicated in our response, the first RFQ we received on the 8th of December 2022. So we may not be, Honorable Chair members, in a position to tell, what was happening between then and the period of the RFQ. But what we can tell is that we did provide the information that has been requested. Then maybe if then I can then couple it with the response on question 7. Now the subs, the subs on NOJAX, of course, the internal investigation completed, and then the report served at the Financial Misconduct Board. And as along with that, I think we also appeared before the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, and then there was a resolution that there must be also forensic investigation. But with the subs, the case was opened by us based on the recommendation of the Financial Misconduct Board, and that is how the subs comes into the picture on NOJAX. And then on the cows, the laptops, the desktops, and even on Fejatlal, the subs comes into the picture on the fact that with Fejatlala, also our investigation indicate that there could be some, possible criminal, elements in that, and then we opened the case with subs ourselves. Similarly, with the theft of the assets, obviously, the first point when you experience theft is to report the matter to police so that the police can immediately do the investigation. So that is how, Chair, we have this number of cases that are investigated by subs. Then the provincial treasury, of course, as I already alluded to, is on the forensic investigation on NOJAX. Then on question 2, why are they doing the work of the HOD and MEC? If I heard the question correctly, I hope I did, and meaning I think why is SIU doing the work of the HOD and MEC? And I think I've already clarified that, how did SIU investigation come into the picture. Actions against the responsible officials, which is not there. And as I indicated, when we were providing the response, was that we listed the officials, because when we received the RFQ, the information that they wanted relate to the work of these officials. So it does not necessarily mean that already the SIU has found the officials liable. That is the context, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. So we shared these names to illustrate that the information that we provided to SIU is from these officials. So by virtue of them being, the responsible people, then much as the investigation is still going ahead, they are responsible. But there has not been any pronouncement yet or outcome yet of the investigation that these officials were found liable or responsible. How many are still in the department? I think that is question number 4 from Honorable Pala. All of them, as listed on page 10, except Mera Punga, who has since retired. She was the director for Wembe District. She retired. But the rest of the colleagues are still in the department. Why was action not taken since 2018-19? I will take that, Honorable Chair and members. It's also because the investigations have not been concluded yet. Question number 6, NOJAX, what is the progress to date? What is the progress on the recommended actions? I think I've spoken to that. To also say that other than the investigation that is going ahead, but the recommendation of our internal investigation was that which MEC, Honorable MEC has already provided in terms of the progress that we have shared, to say that Mr. Ndlozi, Ms. Manyaga and Mr. Maleka, there is employer rep that has already been appointed, and they are busy with the charges, doing the consultations here and there so that they can be able to finalize the charges. And the deadline that we had put to the employer rep was the 26th of April. Okay, I dealt with question 7. The level of corruption, I think MEC has already spoken to that. I may not add. Have there been any recoveries from officials and service providers? And we are at a point where we say the outcome of all this, the DC cases, the investigations, should be able to also assist us in the loss, determination, how much and what should be recovered. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Pala.
And because since some of them are not new, they come from 2018-19 coming now to 21, 2020, whatever. Is there, in the accumulation of these things and the rigorous involvement of the investigative bodies, is there a situation where they have brought a report of what they have done, progress, and you were able to close a case or not? Tabano Jackson to the dual Mapurisa District Report Chairperson, this is the direction, or Taba Caspi to the dual SIU District Report. I'm just giving an example of those in relation to the irregulars, because there's a lot of those investigations, but I don't see where they have brought the report, the investigating people, which says, this is the direction we have determined, this is what we found, these are the people responsible, these are the steps we must take, these are the recommendations we are making. I've not seen that. Why is that the case?
Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Tabumu Kolu, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. I would ask the HOD to deal with the issue of computers and the home, because there's an impression that I've been given that this matter are just about to be concluded.
I'm going to still be clear with the commission. I'm going to go to the pretty cool. Even in the morning, I'll be cool. You should tell confirmation. What's that all?
Chair, my name is Tawamu Koni, the MC for Agriculture. I'm sorry if I'm late, but I thought these are part of the oh no, yes, no, I thought these are part of some of the investigations that unless if I was saying I'm rushing ahead, I thought, because I had an impression that since you have been raising these issues, some of these investigations which were coming from the previous years were making a follow-up on it. Well, they should be an answer on those issues, and when the right time comes, we'll then be able to deal with it.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson and members. My name is Ramatsimele Jekulin Maisel. Okay, I can't say indeed my MEC was correct. I can't say that, but the investigation.
and already you told us. The evidence is jumping before the guard.
My name is Honorable Chair. My name is Ramatsimele Jekulin Maisel, Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. Also, I think that was my understanding, because it talks about investigations generally, but maybe to narrow it to the ones that Honorable Phala maybe have already touched on, where we are reporting, Honorable Chair and members, that the SIU investigation is still underway. It has not been completed. The KPMG, I'll come back to KPMG. The Abacus report on NOJAX, that the forensic, is also still underway. The department has not received the report as yet. Then we have the investigations that have been completed by KPMG. Those we do have the reports, and I think question 6 talks to those, because the KPMG was on fencing and OSD. Those are that is the investigations that have been completed, wherein the report were presented to the department, and then the department, the implementation of the recommendations is underway. And as Honorable Phala has indicated, the other investigations of the cattle, the desktops, we've captured that as part of question 6 as well. No, question 6 and 7 rather. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Actually, I should have requested Honorable Ndaga to take us to question 7, because they are not separate. Can we go to 7?
6, 7.
Because they are going interested in Shimon 7.
Let's do 6 and 7, Chair,
6, 7.
because they are related.
6 and 7, yeah.
They are on the report. Mukoni wanted to be there long ago.
Can you read us those questions? Honorable Chair. Honorable Islami is out now. He's coming.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chair. My name is Phala Zamda, member of the committee. Question 6 on other reports. Executive authority. In the previous public hearings, the department reported that there were 2 investigations which were conducted. That is fencing and occupation-specific dispensation, OSD. A. Provide the progress report on the implementation of recommendations made on the above two mentioned investigations. And then I move to question 7. Request for reports. Executing Authority. The committee has noted with concern that the Department of Agriculture has failed to account for several equipment that were lost in some of its premises, or on the following lost items. A. 88 computers. B. 102 cows lost in Makado. C. 120 laptops. D. Were the cases open? If so, provide a detailed report. E. Who are the responsible officials? F. What action has been taken against the responsible officials in all the respective cases? G. What measures did the accounting officer put in place to prevent the recurrence of these matters? Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Taon Koni, the MEC for Agriculture and Environment. I'll ask the Secretary to deal with the issues.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson, and Honorable Members. My name is Ramatsimene Jacqueline Maisela, the Head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. With question 6, in terms of the progress on the implementation of recommendations made on the fencing and OSD occupation-specific dispensation, we would like to report to the honorable members that with regard to fencing, appropriate disciplinary actions were taken as follows. Members of the bid evaluation committee, which are Mr. Ndlozi, the chairperson, Mr. Vessels, Mr. Selemena, letters of representations on disciplinary action the 3rd of March 2023, and that there's an annexure M that talks to that. Ms. Yabi, Chief Financial Officer, then letter of also of representation was issued and was expected to respond on 8 March. Mem Lamudi and Ms. Ngobeniji, also the letters were written and response expected 3rd of March. Myself, RJ, the matter is under consideration by the MEC. Then with regard to PFMA considerations, the amount has been disclosed and forms part of the current or unwanted expenditure, which is irregular expenditure that we disclosed in our financial statements of 62.7 million and wasteful expenditure of 429,000. Then on further investigations, the department is still waiting for the finalization of the forensic investigation by Abacus, as we've already alluded to. And then on the matter of control environment improvements, we are reporting that all recommendations are currently being implemented, and the implementation of the recommendation is outlined as per Annexure N. That is on the control environment. And on the, maybe if I can just elaborate on the issue of the consequence management, the report that the Honorable MEC has already spoken to say there has been progress since our last appearance to SCOPA in terms of what needs to be done. We have this report which we thought we will share with the honorable members, what from since then up to date, what has been happening. Maybe just to, if I can just talk to it briefly. With regard to those members of the bid evaluation committee, that is from Mr. Ndlozi up to Ms. Ngobeni, the department has appointed an employer representative to deal with the disciplinary hearing processes as per the forensic investigation recommendation on fencing. The representatives that are in the process of crafting the charges, and the implicated officials will be served upon finalization. It is undertaken that the charges will be served for the implicated officials by latest 28th of April. And this is the progress that is underway through our labor relations section. And also, maybe just to report that there's also some interactions between the department also and Treasury on some of the areas that needed clarity. But the implementation has already commenced. Found to be liable Mr. Molauzi AA and Mr. Moloto LE, who have since retired from the department. And some of the areas that needed to be clarity, like I indicated, because it's the same KPMG who did investigation on fencing and both OSD. There has been a meeting that was scheduled for the 21st of April, which I'm told has already taken place, so that there could be clarity provided so that also when the charges are finally drawn, are finalized, there could be some, improvement, so that, and I think it talks to the earlier question of the strength of the, cases of the department. So this consultation, Honorable Chair and members, was very necessary. Then, I think, Honorable Chair, as we move on to question 7, yeah, I think I spoke to everything under fencing and OSD. Then on question 7, the 88 computers that were lost, we have attached as annexure R1. I think it gives a detail of, annexure is a report that is written to the Secretary of SCOPA from the head of department, outlining where we are in terms of addressing the issues of the 88 desktops that could not be accounted for. I'm not sure, Honorable Chair, you'll guide whether I should go through the report. That is on the annexure R1 on the loss of 88 computers. Then 102 cows lost in Makado, that is at Mara Research Station. Annexure R2, it also details
There was no referendum or annex. Uno summary. We must hear you. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. My name is Ramatsimele Jacqueline Maisela, HOD of Agriculture and Rural Development. That was not the intention, Chair.
Okay.
I was just referring honorable members to the annexes. With regard to the 86 desktops that 88, desktops that we lost as a department. We like to indicate that around the year 2015-16, 88 desktops were received and accounted for as additions in the asset register. Then in 2016-17, the 88 desktops were then distributed to various districts or to various officials in the department, wherein they were even barcoded. But this was done before they can be distributed to individual users. Then of the 88 desktops, 44 were allocated to Mazivandela and Dombisideka colleges and barcoded with the codes which were not received from head office. I think it was an asset management miscommunication. Then on the same year, the board system was adopted as asset management system, and the register was loaded in board with the incorrect, barcodes as it was indicated. And then those incorrect barcodes were classified as missing according to the board, guidelines on the asset register. Then these wrong barcodes were rectified on the system. However, they crashed at the SITA and consequently duplicated the numbers. In other words, there were duplication of the board's the board codes on the system. And because of that, the additional 44 were classified as assets that are under investigation when we were writing compiling financial statements for 2017-2018. Then we indicating that procedure the department was able to prove that the 44 desktops were a duplication, and removing them from the asset register meant that they should be written off to correct the numbers. Then internal control was requested to verify and confirm existence of these assets before they could be written off. Then their investigation as internal control confirmed that the 44 were indeed duplication and referred the matter to Financial Misconduct Board for processing of the write-off. So subsequently, the FMB recommended to the accounting officer for approval of that writing off, and the approval was accordingly granted. And upon approval, then around 2019-20, the system was accordingly updated. And in 2019-20, officials responsible for those administrative errors went for the DC process, and the matter was concluded in 2022-2023 financially. So that was around the 88 desktops. They even had to give the statements accounting for what they have done, the errors that they've committed, and so forth. Then on 102 cattle that were reported lost at Mara. The manager, I would say the station manager, Mr. Sibey, reported that there were 102 cattle that were lost at Mara station, and immediately then the matter was opened with the police station, with the police at Mara research station. And upon the reporting of the case, I want to go to the recommendations of the And upon the reporting of the case, then it then happened that some of the cattle were gradually found. They were gradually identified, and the explanation of the officials was that the reason they were reported stolen was that they were grazing in other parts because the farm is too big. It's about 11,000 hectares. They were grazing in other farms and so forth. But then we instituted the internal investigation, which also then confirmed that there was sort of the negligence on the part of the officials. It also revealed that the cattle were not counted like on daily basis, so that like every morning they need to be counted and also in the evening, but that was not done. And the reason that was cited was the capacity that the officials, did not have to constantly or regularly count the cattle. The other thing that was revealed by the investigation report was that because our fences that are bordering or the boundary between the farm and the nearest community were in a dilapidated state, there ought to be resources made available to improve that fence. The other issue that was brought to our attention was the actual capacity, because even the fences were manned by the not the rangers but by the headers, because due to the retirements or staff turnover at the research station, we could not be able to replace the lost capacity. Then, based on the outcome of the investigation, then the recommendation was that there ought to be the disciplinary case that or the disciplinary action that is taken against the responsible officials, that is the farm manager and also I think the manager for scientific, the supervisor for scientific work and other officials. So as we're speaking, the cases are on, and I can refer the members to this update report in terms of where we are. The officials is Mr. Sibe PJ, as I indicated, he's the manager of the research station, and then Mr. Majia, KFM, Mr. Mahobatlo, Mr. Ramova, and Mr. Ramova. It's about 4 officials. Currently, the disciplinary hearing for the 5 is currently underway, and the previous sittings unfolded, and the next sitting for the hearing is on the 18th of May. So that's where we are with regard to the necessary actions that we're supposed to take against the responsible officials. Now, on the police case part, we have since received a response from SAPS. Is it the one? S2. S2. S1 and S2. Yes. Honorable Chair and members, when we inquired with SAPS in terms of the progress, and we did that in early in the year, if you go to Annex S1, this is the report that they gave us. It's a system, they call it a system-generated report. I initially struggled to interpret it, but what I was made aware or made to understand was that if you look at that is where it says the docket closed by Mr. Warrant Officer Mahubu, men of closure, withdrawn, and so forth. But what they're saying is that they have discontinued with the case. The case is closed because they could not find any, what is the interpretation? It was not worth pursuing. It's basically what they're saying, but they've given us this case report. Then on I'm on 102,000. I must go to. apologies, Honorable Chair.
Well, what action is required?
It's fine. On 120 laptops, I dealt with 102 counts. Question 7C, 120 laptops. Is annexure R3. This 120 laptops is the ones that were lost at the auction. There was a burglary at the auction site in State Ground. We've got the offices in State Ground where the auction was arranged. It was us and the office of the Premier who were supposed to do the auctioning. And in the middle of the night, then the thieves came, they broke in, they took the laptops, because the practice that has been established is that a day before, then the assets will be placed but safeguarded, not just placed, safeguarded. The security was there. But then there was this burglary, and these 120 laptops were stolen. Then the case was opened with Appel Police Station, and also internally investigated the matter. And the investigation found out that the responsible officials from ASSET, they were not supposed to have done what they're supposed to do. In other words, they do not put measures in place to ensure that the burglary takes place. With regard to the implementation of the recommendation of the investigation report, the internal investigation, responsible officials are, I think it's Melo Polwane.
Mamona Rimuriam Fayola, Chairperson.
Ki se iksa munja kero e. Paalo garu madanga.
Tintanere Uta, Koni,
Sai. Ipale la wetu mwayo la fa.
Honorable Chair, through you, my name is Ramasimel. I think it's because of the quite a number of annexures that we have put in place.
Those annexures are not properly identified. As we said in the morning.
Okay, there we go. Thanks, Honorable Chair. My name is Ramasimel Jacqueline Maisela, the head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. I'm on Annex R3, Honorable
R3.
Chair. Yes. R3. I think I've outlined the background in terms of how the loss occurred. I was at the responsible officials, Mezita is Deputy Director for Asset Management, Director Asset Management and Supply Chain, Melo Polwane. And also to report that there were still, in other words, not all was stolen. There were those that were recovered. The other assets, about 1.5 million was able to be, collected. And I think the report provides a breakdown of how much. Office of the Premier collected 59,625, whereas ourselves we managed to collect 1.579 million. So I was indicated that we then reported the matter for investigation. So then, based on the recommendation of the internal investigation, Labor Relations dealt with the matter, and their analysis showed that there is a need for progressive discipline a progressive discipline was recommended and it was implemented, because the analysis was that it was difficult for the officials to prevent the burglary and the theft, because the security was alerted, the security on site was made aware that there are assets that were taken care of. Then what we did also, I'm looking at the annexa wherein we wrote a letter of demand from the security company to reimburse us on the loss.
So they reimbursed you. They paid you.
Have they paid? They've not paid. They've not paid. I must then go back. Response. Now, the last one, I was going back to the responses on page 14, Honorable Chair and members. The last one is 88. I didn't speak to 88. I did. Okay, yeah. No, I think, Honorable Chair and members, I've dealt with all the responses. The next question is actually on what action has been taken against the responsible officials, as I've outlined. The 88 computers, they were subjected to disciplinary hearing. Also the 102 cattle, as well as the 120 laptops. Thank you, Honorable Chair and members.
Members, Honorable Fala.
Thanks, Chair. In relation to fencing, you will note, Honorable Chair, that the issue of fencing was not raised by the AG or someone. It is us who brought the issue as a question by the committee, and it's an old matter in the department. In what year was this fencing matter? In what year did the fencing matter happen in the department? If you can tell us, but it's some time ago, Chair. But I want to show you and Honorable Mugoni something. No one raised it. The AG didn't raise it. We, on our own, when we met, we then said, let's ask them about the old fencing matter. Now look what they do. They start acting on the 3rd of March 2020. Do you see that? Never do. I don't know if you get the point. And this is the point we told Mugoni at the beginning of the meeting. That in most of these things, until the last question, they started acting when SCOPA sent them questions. And then they acted. But then when we turned them back, they then went to sit again and started to try to take action. If we didn't come to ask about fencing, this action, they will not be happening. Do you see it, Honorable Chair? And I want them going to be in the same, read from the same book as us. And it's not just this department, it's all the departments. And that is why wherever you go, you hear people, whether it's an HOD's forum or a CFO's forum, crying about something called SCOPA. because they don't do their work themselves. And when we show them the work they should do, instead that they jump up and down. Like, every topic, that's what it. And that's where we see this committee chair. Most department act when they don't act on their own. They wait for us to tell them, or this issue they mention, this one they mention, that one they mention. And in relation to the issues up to this question, this is question 7, you will see, Chairperson, that all of them, they acted now when we acted. Did you see that? From the first question on underspending, to the second question on irregular expenditure, to the third question, to NOJAX, to now that we are dealing with other investigations, now we are dealing with fencing and old matter of 2015-16. They act when we, the matter to flow with the water. And that's where we get very unhappy, Honorable Mukoli. How you go around this place, get very hot. One of the MECs who was here before you, Honorable Mukoli, I'm sure he or she told you, his or her eyes were full of water by this time. Full of water because they wait for us to tell them what to do. And when he or she was here, he or she did not know where are heads and where are tails of his or her own department. And that's why by the time we finished with him or her at 10, her eyes were like dams, full of a lot of water. So, and we don't want that. Mukoli, your eyes are still having mist now. Yeah. So this is an old matter, Chair, and we are very unhappy about that. That it should be us who revive issues that they have left to flow. And now, when we, so now the rules letters on the left and 8th of March, number letters to real letters. That's the rest. Illegal is occupation dispensation as the pay where it comes to be paid. What is the processing thing? Is the process not as strong as you did here? Isn't the process that your officials to show that there is just that you have irregularly amount is not here, pay 7,000, you are supposed to be here, or we are going to want you to pay the money. That's the letter. The official responds or doesn't respond. If he responds positively, then the response. If the official doesn't respond positively, the matter goes forward to the head of department, and once the head of department gives an instruction that the money be recovered in that file, so you 15,000, you clear 1,100 mutual funds. Is that not? Because that is my understanding of how we do it. In other departments, that's how they do it, at least. That's where here. Let me go. I don't know how your department is doing something else. But in other departments, the ratifications, the official accept the debt, signs, and then they recover it over a period of time. If the official is recalcitrant, the account goes to the tax, then we send it back to the government. And then the official, no, that will be what quotas are now. Will be 20% will be done 1,000 for 2 months. So we see inside And going inside the senior department with so many people, if I just go to chairperson, this department same Mr. Kola, who was in there, where is Mr. That Mr. Kola, was the CFO of the department called Safety, Security and Liaison. He may have a message, Mareveli CFO. That mem Siabi was a CFO a few years ago. You see her? Aha. Then we have another extra CFO, Ngadingi. And on our Matoma, she was another one decided. Look what I got jail. Here, what I have for the district for chairperson. I had it. So I want them to talk to that in relation to that one of specific dispensation. Because part of the problem, Chair, is that an MEC and HOD, if you do not recover money, usually we at that time we look very harsh. We order that the money be recoverable against someone. And at that time, a person gets very thin and resigns from government. So, before that, because mom so and so did not recover the money, we now, and you set on it, money is recoverable against you. And you go up and down, you even try to go in the class. And now our job is our class. We go to a sitting of the legislature and talk. The will tell you, I really will class. How you will class or that's what class. And we don't want that. Recover the money of occupation specific dispensation and take steps to ensure that that money is recovered. Related to OSD chairperson, let them tell us about them. Now that they say they are recovering it, what happens to those who have resigned, retired, or died? Everyone need go. Let them talk to those about those. What then happens to their scholar? If a person was overpaid by 17,000 as the example, what then happens died of corona a year or two? Yeah. If they can talk to them. If you look there, Chairperson, when we ask them in relation to that question, who are the responsible officials? They name a lot of officials, but we will still come to them. Let's go to the issue of the computers and laptops and all that. Committee. Let's go there. On the issue of the convention, so many officials, about a dozen officials. But once you go forward, those officials disappear if you watch it. Unlike what happens with other departments. But my first question there was in relation to the 88 computers were given. Director Asset Management, Mr. Marupi. Do you see him, Honorable Chair? Maragaba Etao, 120 laptops. Basa mentioned another Director Asset Management, Barke Lokolwane, MM. So if they can clear that, what has since happened to the two people who are in one position? But let's go through it slowly and see. When you now ask for what steps did you take, because now we're in a committee of consequences, Mukoni. What I like about Honorable Mr. Mukoni is that he has internalized the work of this committee. So when he's in the department, he works more or less like us. So he's essentially our representative there, as he is an honorable member sitting in there representing all the 49 other members, which is good, Honorable Mkoi. And that is why, if you noticed, in the other department where he was, he left here at 5 o'clock in the morning. But the department in the next year got a clean audit. You remember that, Honorable Chairperson? Precisely because of that. So we hope even here he will turn the ship around. Because where he was, the department was in doldrums when he was sitting here, and it reached 5 o'clock. The sun was almost coming up, and Honorable Mkoni was still sitting there with us. And at that time, at 4 o'clock, he was eating sweets and biltong at the same time. But the department got a clean audit, which is what we want. So but let's go through this. When we ask what action has been taken, again to the regular from flu, what action has been taken, let's go through it slowly. What action has been taken against the responsible officials? Look what happens. You see, Honorable Chair, all those officials that are mentioned there, Kumarupi, none of them is guilty. When you go to the next question, 6 officials, none of them is guilty. When you go to the 120 laptops on the next page, what you are seeing, Chairperson? Some official is found wanting, probably not guilty, you see, wanting, and is given a verbal warning. Verbal warning. I don't know who is the chief director for corporate sales. Actually, is something that does not exist. Didn't they start in the first place? Okay, because it's like what we did in the morning, Honorable Chair. You saw what we did. The department's file was not in order in relation to the dates. The MEC signed on the 24th of February, but the attachments are on the 3rd of March, the 8th of March, and up to Friday. You remember that? But what did you do? You gave the HOD a verbal warning, you remember that? And said bring the letter that confirms that you signed. The MEC brought the letter, you remember that? The verbal warning is this so. If myself. verbal warning. It's like when the traffic stops you, or you see a stop sign and you give him cold drink. Artamaya, I'm not driving out. Okay, verbal warning in Tama. What you get verbal warning? Because our city stop sign and then Munya cold drink, what they call cold drink in the Department of Transport, which is 20 times the amount of a normal cold drink. And the official Mutagola, Utamaya, driver, how to buy? Get a balloning again. And get to wear him. High peel, tell a guy on a high peel. Go roads again, now would be over what in the stage is our one of the job to go for Simba. Tarnati, Ulamu. How would you limit? I've been not the dealer. I don't want one chairperson must say, when you finish drinking tea and Spencer, the warning also is expired. If you get the logic. In taste up in the autumn time. So I want them to talk about it because of all the departments that came here, Mukoni. And that's why in the morning you remember someone referring to someone as Uncle Laban, a very famous uncle in the Bible, who will give oranges and peaches to the cousins, when the nephews and nieces when they visit. In the Bible is most famous uncle. Someone referred to that. It's precisely because of things like this, where people commit offenses and you call them for tea and coffee, finish drinking tea and stand up. The warning itself has expired. I've never seen that in all the hearings that we had here with other departments. Thanks very much, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Mdaka.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Honorable Kala has actually summarized everything. And one has got not much to say. The question is, are we really up to the standard in terms of presenting our cases? Because either our case was too weak, there is no evidence against the employee. We're almost losing all the cases. The laptops that were stolen at the straight crowd.
An auction.
After arrival, they get stolen. It's like when there is a robbery, it goes well when there's an internal person that is leading how everything must be executed. And someone will then be tied up and then brushed and then, or be shot at the leg and then all the money disappear. And the robbers will not be found. So I think there's a need for us to find a way of dealing with some of these issues. The issue of a case dragging, like letters written after 5 years or 3 years, at a later stage, we will then come across a statement that says the official has since passed on, the official has since resigned, the official has moved to another company. That will be after 10 years. Do we have specific time frames on how we deal with issues of misconduct and conducting or making sure that there is consequence management? It's like we're not that much serious about this question of consequence management, and I don't see the reasons why we're not. But the legislation is very clear. So maybe we need to tighten up. I don't think asking a question will assist. I'm just indicating that there's no success story that we can talk about in trying to deal with the issue of consequence management. I've read this whole file now, trying to look for a success story where we have actually held somebody responsible. Nothing, as we indicated earlier on. So, Honorable MEC, we heard you that there will be consequence management. Coming from the history that we had, that you also moved other departments to clean audit, and I think even this one will go to clean audit. But the question of consequence management is very serious. Us losing money in terms of irregular expenditures and so on, and this kind of thefts, laptops lost and found, not properly recorded. There might be a lot of other assets that are not properly recorded. If they are not found, then they disappear completely if they are not identified by the AG. So maybe it's things that we need to check going forward in terms of tightening up, our systems and how we account for some of these assets. So yeah, I don't have much to say. This time around, I'm not asking a direct question. I'm just commenting that we need to be serious, about making sure that our department looks good, our government looks good. Things that we think we can find a way of making shortcuts, our people are aware. Things that we can try and say we can dribble the law, our people are aware. They are aware of what is happening. They can even find culprits better than us. And some of them even knows the culprits. They can judge how we behave in many situations, and they can understand why things are the particular way they are. So let's please, if we're given these responsibilities, let's be guided by ethics. Let's not be just a team that is together to allow things to just proceed as long as there's no one taking serious action. Because we are the ones that are supposed to take action first and foremost before we're actually called by committees like this one. So I just wanted to make that comment. Yeah, personally, I'm happy with the Auditor General's report that there will be improvement and they will move from, unqualified to clean audit. We don't want them to move from unqualified and to qualified. We want them to move from unqualified to clean audit. And we hope those small issues that are there, Honorable MEC, will be able to deal with your HOD. I think that is the comment I wanted to make. But I think if we are not serious about consequence management and we can't hold anyone accountable, at the end of the day, irregular expenditure will just be an issue that we'll be lamenting about one financial year to another in all departments, amounting to billions of rands. It's unfair. It's unfair. So it's an issue that going forward we need to really find a way of showing that we are a government that is accountable. We are able to conduct oversight on ourselves before committees like this one can conduct oversight on themselves. So that's the issue that we need to deal with. And refuse to carry instructions that are not ethical. You better lose your job. You better be unemployed. You get another job, a good job, than to be in a position where you are to implement instructions that are not ethical. That's the point that we're making here. We're very serious about that. So you can't be like, yeah, I want to go along. You have to take action and make sure that you put your foot down. Because we want our government to be a clean government. And that is what is there. And it starts with you. And that's the comment I'm making. You know what is happening. You know why things are the way they are. And you know how they can be corrected. And it starts with you. So that's the comment I wanted to make, Honorable Chair. I'm sorry, because earlier on I thought I'm asking a simple question. I realized it's a loaded question, and then yeah, so I don't want to really move on and ask questions when we know we can correct things, you can correct things. We want to see a better report with less unauthorized expenditure and irregular expenditures and so on. And having dealt with this one, and not hide around someone who's an easy someone to pounce on. Normally, those who are doing good are the ones that are attacked. That is what we know. So that we get rid of them, then we remain with a team that can comply, but not complying with the law, complying with wrong things. I think we should.
Thanks. Honorable MEC, can you respond to the follow-ups?
Thank you very much. My name is Kawon, you call me the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. Chair, what the Honorable Pala just said is unfortunate that in life certain things just happen like what he says. There will be something that we pick up ourselves. There will be something that you pick up as a committee or as picked by the public and is brought to the picture. The matter is, what do we do with those issues? I would imagine that, look, since you have raised most of the issues that you have raised, to be honest, I'm saying to work with Chamano, as you know, it makes easy things for me personally. You will see that this report, to be honest, it has been drilled down like we're going. Lebona, they know. I mean, the officials, they know. When you raise these issues, I mean, it was a laughing matter at first to say like the penguin, the cows, the computers. I mean, I know this matters as in my fingertips. For instance, the computers explain, no, dear, it was this is what is going to happen. And we say, like you are reading us, Honorable. We are saying, just put the committee, yourself, take it as if you are a committee. Don't answer. You see, today in this meeting, we might have aired in some way. The questions which you will raise, they are put there. There will be an answer where we saw it, but let's try to minimize it. But also, if you look at the report, we are coming from 38 House SCOPA resolution. We are at 7. I think the next time when we come, we might be at 3 or 4. Because you ask a question, do you take us serious? No, we do take you serious. Personally, myself, I do take SCOPA serious. The issue of the computers, I asked, I mean, even the kettles, even when I went to that place, I asked them, how did this kettle get lost? They said, Mr. Sbey said to me exactly what they reported. I can confirm that because the place is big, and there's this. So I'm saying, I don't want to waste your time. The details is that what I'm pushing that we deal with the issues that have been asked. If you look, even the report, and there is where they are Fiona, where she interacts with the treasurer. I think it's what they call the board. What do you call it? The board, where they report and give report, and those are the issues that we will do. And you know what someone was advising me is that one of the things that as an executive authority, we do not have authority to charge anyone. By the way, for instance, we deal with the HOD. What we do, we can only advise her to do certain things. We have to refer it to the people. She has to deal with the other people. It's a responsibility. But remember, in this case, what we need to do is to encourage them to make sure that they report, they deal with issues that are the executive authority. The law gives us certain aspect, but we are trying. I mean, if you were to make an assessment, I mean, I guess you will make an assessment to say, since we met you, how far have we gone? Are we telling the truth or we are? But we, like I said, we will make sure that most of those issues are dealt. When the honorable person said, don't be ahead of yourself. I mean, if you look at the issue of computer, when it came here, it was a hot potato. The issue of cows, it was a hot potato. The other computers, and we have narrowed the gap. I hope by the time those reports come, because I don't think, I also told them that I don't want to go to SCOPA and say those issues was a compliance, 28th of March, 5th of May. It may look like we want to play with you. I think the issue is that we want to suggest that we must have a consequence management register, which will then deal with this and demand a monthly report and share it with SCOPA and the treasurer, because that will show the part that we are actually playing. And I am maybe that's what the Honorable Father is also saying, and that will alleviate the issue that every time we come to SCOPA, it looks like we are doing it for the sake of compliance. I think I will actually the rest of the details. I think the HOD can deal with.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson and members. Maybe to clarify, Maruping versus Lokurani. Maruping was the director then when the incident happened of the 88 computers. He's now he's now heading management accounting. Then has the officials accepted the debt. The HOD has written to all of them to indicate that we are going to correctly place them, because they were the finding of the investigation is that they were incorrectly placed. And then on the recovery part, I was then we then contacted the legal services to say, looking at the period between now and then, what approach can be followed for the recovery of the debt. And there was I think an advice from the state law advisors that we need to seek the court order, and that is the process that I have referred to legally to deal with it. But what we can share with the members is that I think obviously they are not happy. They are challenging that, or they want to challenge that, but we will follow the due processes towards that recovery. So the legal services, they are dealing with together with employee relations, with the matter of how do we then seek the court order so that the recovery process can start. I think with the delays, the MECs already adequately cover the acknowledgement that we are delaying, but we are now in a mood of fast tracking, so I may not repeat that. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable MEC.
Thank you. My name is Tabon Koni, the MEC for Agriculture and Welfare. On the matter of OSD, it's a very difficult matter. Very, very difficult. When I arrived at the department, I received a representation. We had to take unpleasant decision to write to them to say there is this matter, which we are seeking legal advice and counsel from the Premier's office, like the HOD has said. Those people are shaken, the employees are shaken. Because some of them, it is not whether it was their collusion or they just find themselves in that position. Because it's a matter that involves life and death. Some of them, it involves their long saving pension. And we are there because we had to implement what the law says. But we will see how far we go. And it's not an easy thing, but we become unpopular, unfortunately, but that's where we are. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, can we move to the last three questions? Honorable Father.
Just few points that that came here, like is it social development, they have been able to recover such overpayments and they followed the due process. So we don't know why that it is similar overpayments like of that OST thing. So we don't know why you are spending more time, because once you spend more time, it will be irrecoverable. So that due process, what is the period of time that is stipulated that it will take until the money is recovered or not recovered? That is point one. And because there was, Chairperson, there was a waste of time in recovering it, against whom, and if the officials, if we are unable to recover it from the officials who are overpaid, from whom should we recover the money? Because we must still recover the money. Our name is SCOPA, is short. Actually, we are the Standing Committee on Public Accounts for long. That's our full name. Precisely because those are the things we look at. Once the state has a potential to lose money, we want that money to be found. So if indeed it happens that we are unable to recover it in time and it prescribes, from whom should we recover the money? Who actually are the people or person who delayed the matter? From whom should we recover the money? If you can mention that, that will help. And we asked you there at the end, Toro, in relation to all the reports, all the officials are no official is guilty, not guilty, not guilty, everywhere, except in relation to the matter of the computers, where an official was given a verbal warning, and we have asked what was the basis of that verbal warning. And just to help it, Chair, just to help it, let's go through it slowly. Maybe she's getting tired, and to arrive where Mugoni wants us to go, because Mugoni has been goading us to go there, is that in general, the Department Mugoni is responding well compared to what you were doing in the last meeting. If you remember what was happening in the last meeting, where the responses were not up to scratch, we were very unhappy with the responses. The HOD was on tenterhooks. It was Valentine's Day. We didn't know who was waiting for her where. So, and as this committee, we usually don't go. This committee doesn't go there, Chairperson, into who was waiting for her where, and what. We don't go there usually as a general rule. But she was on tenterhooks on that day. But today, where Mugoni wants us to go, and that's where we are. Mugoni, today you are answering very well. Very well. And actually you are answering better than yourself last time, better than yourself last year, and better than actually most of the departments that came here. You can write that down and say Pala said it. So, because that is true, you are answering very well. Generally, if you realize, we never repeated many questions to the HOD, because indeed she is answering well in generally, and we are happy with how she's responding to questions. That's why Mugoni wants us to go, so that we can put him in the back. The mist in his eyes will disappear. He will be very, very happy. And that is true. We're just maintaining the truth. The department is answering well. It shows the improvements that have been made there. We hope that indeed it is turning a new leaf, and going forward it will remain like this and improve. And even the finances, when the year end, we will see better improvement in that regard, as you are saying. And that's what we see as we sit in this hearing, Honorable Mukoni. But when you come to a hearing, that's the final point. As other departments, one of the people you must not leave is the legal head. If you get the point, I'm sure you realize that now. Because there are many things that involve legal. Actually, every question has got a way where it connects to legal part. So the legal head can never take leave or something unless it is, I think it is, what is it called, accouchement leave. Unless it is that. If it is not that one, a legal head can never take leave when you go to SCOPA. You must be sitting here and be able to help you in some of the tricky things that emerge in the course of the hearings that we want. Thanks very much. Those are my points. If they respond to them, I will be happy, then we will move. Just the 2 points I raised. Three.
Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Tavon Mukoni, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. I was checking the web. Tender works.
I'm good. Oh, for that day,
I understand. She was not here. She was
yeah, I know, I get
Valentine's Day. Yeah, no, I get it.
She was somewhere.
She was
somewhere. This is true. And it was Valentine's Day, Mugodi mentioned it.
No, maybe they should may need to answer the questions. The issue of recovery. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson and members. I think the first follow-up question was how long is it going to, the due process, how long is it going to take? I think, as I indicated, that the matter is with legal. I may not be able to, here and now, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable, indicate the time frame, but it's what I can check with legal services. But I think we, because we do have interest at the level of the MEC and the HOD, we can Honorable Chair and members, we put our legal service also the first with at least we read that the issue from the court is the one that has second and choose to explain the thank you.
Treatment provided on the are on the same page on the list file. How is it in the one by year? Many of that from the list on it. When it's we don't find security apply what we have like what happens are not questions on the inside of things. This is a contravention against the Act 99 public employees. Provide the committee officials who conduct preliminary review. How many departments cover from responsible officials? How much? What discrimination has been taken against them? What plans the accounting officer put in place to prevent recurrence of such recurrence or anomaly? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable members. On question 8, the LDART, which this department administered 100 farms before power of attaining administration and digital agricultural state was 2009 by the of the expert to of the attaining because it's the public and the province land of the We since went and contact the Department of Human Rights Department, that is Annexure 1, Annexure X1, my apology, that outlines the list of the farms that are being listed. With regard to 8C, also how much they are listed for, I think the Annexure X1 talks to that as well. Annexure D, how much revenue has been generated in the last 5 years from 2017-18 to 2021-22. We would like to report that since the power of attorney was withdrawn in 2009, the revenue is collected by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, a record of the revenue that has been collected. The livestock that the province have, the LDART has in its biological asset register a total of 1,987 livestock. The total value of biological assets held by the department as at 31 March 2022 was 232,000. In terms of where they are stationed, the breakdown is provided. It's a biological asset. It's provided as Annexure Y. We have in Vembe district, that is at Mara Research Station, 1,219. And at Mazvandela College, we've got 78. Then in Mopani, at our Harde BS Breeding Farm, we've got 371. In Waterbeck, at Tohomba Research Station, we've got 199. And at Mokopani Laboratory, we've got 31. In Skukune District, we've got 162 at Dombisileka College. Then on question 9, why did the department fail to comply with the supply chain management processes? We would like to report that the bidder, Sheila M., who is the director of Leshaga Security Services, did not disclose his relationship with the departmental employee who is Fanspoor E as co-directors of EAU Montagny Home Owners Association, which is a non-profit company. The responsible official is Mrs. Fanspoor, who is a scientific technician production grade B. The action that the accounting officer has taken, Mr. Fanspoor has been served with a letter and response is expected on 10th March. And there's since been a response based on the update report that we have just spoken to. What measures have the accounting officer put in place to prevent these anomalies? And maybe before the measures, maybe to report to the honorable members that based on the response of the Fanspoor through labor relations, we are analyzing that, but we believe that there could be a case to answer. So, but we are finalizing the analysis, and then from there, the next step will follow. Measures put in place to prevent these anomalies. We are saying that the completion of SBD forms is a standard item in our tender briefing sessions. We had made sure that we do not miss that, because all these challenges emanate from the fact that the bidders do not honestly disclose or honestly complete the SBD 4 form. So we've made that as a standard agenda item for the briefing session so that we don't miss that out, and we make sure that they do understand and they are able to disclose properly. We also included that as part of the RFQs, the request for quotations for potential suppliers. We're putting that as an emphasis. Furthermore, 3 suppliers had already been issued with letters, that is Annexure AA, wherein we indicated that failure to do this, then we will actually commence with the process of restricting them, but following the due processes as outlined in the instruction notes. On question 10, remunerative work outside the public service. A list of all officials who conducted ROPs. We have Mr. Nkwana Katie, who has been all the years been, indicating that he's not aware that he's been cited as part of the director of the company that is doing business with the state. How much the department recovered from the responsible officials? There was no money recovered, as the outcome of the investigation had indicated that there was no business that the official had conducted with the said department. And that is, Mr. Nkwana, is based on the finding that was discovered by the AG. No disciplinary action taken against the employee, as there is no evidence linked to him from the Department of Education and National Department. So the finding was that Nkwana was a director in this company that made business with the Department of Basic Education and also the Department of Justice. But he was disputing that the dispute is that there was no business made, but he's not disputing that he's a director of the company. So, but it is being dealt with through our employee relations. What plans did the accounting officer put in place to prevent the recurrence of the anomaly? We have issued a circular. Actually, on annual basis, we are issuing circulars sensitizing officials that they should not engage themselves or ourselves in the companies that are doing business with the state, and wherein they are doing business with the state is on incidences where maybe the department has assigned them maybe to serve in certain, but that will be in public entities, not in any other private company. Then the circular further indicates that an employee shall not conduct business with any organ of state or be a director of a public or private company conducting business with an organ of state unless such employee is an official, is in official capacity of company listed in Schedule 2 and 3 of the PFMA, as I indicated, the public entities. We have also incorporated a paragraph in the appointment letters for both the permanent and contract workers, which caution employees about ROPs and conducting business with organs of state. We have put those as Annexure DD. We continue with the conducting of awareness sessions, continually sensitizing them so that we address the issue also of ignorance. We have also, through our IT section, explored effective ways of electronically communicating to employees on ROPS compliance. We are also putting that in our lifts. In other words, it's just a wider awareness so that colleagues, when the ROPS applications are due, then we sensitize them. So these are the time frames for the ROPS applications you need to apply. But this does not mean that they must do business with the state. They could apply if maybe they're doing the hairs, they're doing the nails and so forth, that they can do, but they should not do business with the state. We have also finalized the standard operating procedure on ROPs to inform them about the process to be followed with the responsibilities and timeframes when they apply. So it's currently being circulated. And so far, I think there were some applications that were submitted. They were dealt with through the Ethics Committee. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, members. Honorable Kala.
Thanks, Chair. In relation to the three questions that are here. Just go through them. In relation to the one of list farms, is the list that is provided there as annexure X1 a full list of the farms that are listed? That's point 1. Now point 2 is what is the process in relation to that's what saying got representative out of yeah, but to our but yeah, can then the over there. No one are no one out. The group for you are one or I send a solo about to our Jefferson.
It's the last page on that book. Ali, where do you go? That list, the great. That's the only list that is here. Yeah.
And the file you told them when you opened Honorable Chair, and I'm sure they can see we are very lenient generally as SCOPA. There ourselves. No, that's fine, Chair. Thanks very much, Honorable Chair. The follow-up questions on the questions that have been responded to by the department, the 3 ones. The first follow-up is whether the list there in annexure X1 is the full list of all people who have list farms in the province, which are located in this province of Limpopo. That's point 1. Point 2 is what is the process? Because that's how the question arose, Chair. If you remember in the meeting where questions were being designed, what is the process for a person for a citizen of Limpopo to arrive at having a list farm? In relation to the matter of the security contract there, isn't non-disclosure, and that's Mungoni. That is why I want you to bring the head of legal all the time you come here. Isn't non-disclosure of such important information rendering the contract that you entered into null and void? I don't know if you get the point. Let's give you an example of a nice contract. On many occasions, people who are in Gauteng from here have a wife here in the rural areas. They want to get married to another one, but they are married to someone here in customary law. They try to marry someone there in civil rights. In terms of that, because they don't disclose, they are guilty of an offense called bygun, and that contract is totally null and void. Do you get the point? Because they didn't disclose what? All the information to. So let's go through it. So isn't this one? Because that's the law of contract. That's why we want you, not the Hetisan. Hetisan is a finance person. We want the person of legal to sit here. Because in reality, if he or she was sitting here, he or she will confirm that the contract is null and void. Just because the person didn't disclose all the information that was relevant to be disclosed. Gore ke na le motho o bereka gona ka mo kgorong ya lena, mara o mo kontrakeng yaka. Do you get my point here? So I want them to talk to that. In relation to ROPs, where is chairman? It's usually hiding at the back there. Because what we want there, chairman, which has happened with other departments, when the MEC brings that thing that we talked about earlier, if you remember, whenever he brings it. We want the list of the officials that have been allowed by the MEC to do business, which is not ROPs. A person who sings at funerals and gets paid, or who decorates at weddings over weekends and get paid, or who does catering over weekends. Do you get the point, Chairman? Many departments have brought that list, Chairperson, you remember. We want that list because Honorable MEC, I'm talking to Chairman because he's the chief of your office. We want that list because some of the departments that came here realized when they are here, or some of the people who the MEC has signed that they can do business should not have been signed. Actually, one of the MECs, let's go through it, Chairperson. One of the MECs arrives here, he has signed, it's not a he or a she, he has signed for a chief financial officer, which department is not performing well in relation to finances. He has signed for the CFO to do auditing work. Do you get the point? Who are you auditing here? Auditing your department. And I don't sitting where you are sitting. The MEC by 7 o'clock was saying, I think my signature was forged. No real, the members are here, they can confirm that. Honorable Chairperson can confirm. The MEC was saying that I don't know how my signature arrived there. And we asked him, how do you sign for the CFO to do auditing and help municipalities and other people? Your department is failing dismally in the same auditing and other work of balancing books. Mara, you sign for the CFO to go and do auditing. And the MEC tells us, and the eyes were full of water at that time of the MEC. The MEC tells us, I don't know how my signature came on that list. So Chairman, list you. Usually is fine. So we want that list of officials that the MEC has signed that they can do business because of what we've seen. And we're giving example of that department at the corner there where the MEC signs for a CFO and the department is failing badly in terms of audits. But the CFO is allowed to go and do and when we put him in a corner, he says, I think my signature, I don't know how it arrived there. It was forged or something. It was not. Finally, Chair, 2 final points from my side. Point 1. I hope Honorable Mukoni has seen that on many occasions, the department has acted when we have raised issues ourselves and they found certain things that they didn't know themselves that they were there. Whether it is fencing, whether it is NOJEX, whether it is now we are talking about security. Again, they could not have found fund school if it was not us raising the question, Chair, if you get the point. And this is the point that we told Honorable MEC Mukoni when we started, that the department acts and finds things when we have told them to go and look. They tend to work on themselves. They essentially, not just this department, they want us to do work on their behalf. And it's not our job that, essentially, to be doing job on your behalf, Honorable Mukoni. Because all those things, and you'll find something else. Once you have told you, go and look at fencing, you'll find something. Go and look at no checks, you'll find something. Go and look at ROPs, you'll find the local one. Go and look at security contract, you'll find fund school. Do you get the point? We raised that. The final point, Gore, and this we said at the beginning also when we started. I'm sure Mukoni, now we are finishing, you see it yourself without me mentioning it. Should I mention it? Let me go through it. Usually in this department, and we were joking earlier in the morning on a lighter note, chairs calling it Uncle Laban. You remember that? In the morning when we were saying this department looks like Uncle Laban's department, a very famous uncle in the Bible who everyone wanted to visit if you read the Bible, because all nieces and nephews who visited him will get oranges and peaches and be very happy when they return. He was a very, very good uncle, and this department looks like that. Because if you look at all the questions, how many questions are there? 9 questions or 10. In relation to all the questions, where is Honorable Chairman?
I'm here.
You are here, yeah. You were here when we started. In relation to all the questions from question that we started with up to this last question we are dealing with, there is nowhere where a clear action was taken against an official. Agree, Chairperson? Except a verbal warning against an unfortunate official.
Very unfortunate.
An unfortunate official. No action anywhere. We have taken disciplinary steps. The official has been suspended. We have fired. This official is no longer in the department. We have given even a mere. Other departments come here. What was it? Sports, arts and culture. You remember? They come here with bundles of written warnings. You remember that? More, not even a written warning within Israel. What we have is an unfortunate official who got a verbal warning. That's very unfortunate. Garkena and some warning of some kind. Although we know what it is. You're sitting in office, you are called in the morning, you drink tea with your senior manager. When you stand up, the warning has expired. But I'm warning you, don't do it again. What's the bill? So Mukoni, we're telling you this as if it was a joke in the morning. Now we are finishing. We have demonstrated to you those things that the department act on issues that are dark by us. We dig them up and say, act on this, tell us about this. It's then that they act. But also, even when we have that issues and there are negligent officials responsible, even for huge irregulars, expenditures, no action is taken. And the only action that we have found in black and white in the document is a verbal warning on a very unfortunate official. Chairperson, do you see it? We were saying it in the morning when we opened the CVC too. Because we had gone through the file. Now it shows you. Now that we are finishing, that is where we are. And that's why we are able to tell Honorable MEC Mukoni, and he has seen that he was listening all the time, but this is where we are. And we hope that he will act to continue to turn the department around. Generally, it looks like there are improvements, even how they respond in general, they responded better than most departments and better than themselves in the last sitting, which was a Valentine's Day. The MEC was, the HOD was on tenterhooks, and now she's settled and able to respond. Thanks very much, Chairperson.
Any hands, honorable member? Honorable Lali? Yeah.
Thanks. Manyamani, Honorable Manyamani is the one that I'm always with. Thank you, Chair. The principal has spoken. Now, mine is only on one issue. Perhaps it might not be relevant in this, but I think that the department must have thinkers. Thinkers in the sense that there are many farms which, of course, are missed. And the reality is that one will then question as to for how long is an area which I think we pay less interest. How long does these farms at least? Because, Chair, my problem is that all these farms, you know, our people are illiterate. And when they move around, they think that all these farms that are here are only owned by white. It's a political matter, which I think we need to be debated on a particular day. But the department MEC, it has got thinkers. How long does this, in actual fact, farm been leased? Lisa department, we lease for 20 years or 10 years. Or over, let's say over 10 years. Motu Uli CJ, and this farm we lease to him, for what purpose? What are the bases to lease a farm which is not in actual fact being productive in this? Nothing. No agriculture, it's not cultivating anything. But this person, the department, deliberately gave us a farm. When you check all these farms, you understand that the number of all those farms. Increase the production. Why people should you lease the farms where in fact these people are not trading? Maybe it might be a debate for another day, HOD. The only question that in actual fact I'm interested in is to for how many years more lease are the farmer. And again, check or no, at least or no, who are able to assist, but there are products where people rather feel it. We gave them and they are assisting, they are plowing and so forth. Because we can't just give Honorable Salan a farm for what? Because there are a lot of farms that are in this particular product that do nothing. And you can't tell me that when a person has got 5 cattle and you are saying that that's farming. And we don't even look into that farm, we don't even monitor it. How is it working? Are they bringing something to assist this provincial government? Because we just release farms, 20 years, 10 years. So it is better if we get that particular information. When you come back, at least we'll have same question with same answers. Thanks.
Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My name is Kalum Koni. I will ask the HOD to deal with other issues, and I'll comment after.
Thank you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chairperson, and Honorable members. I think my name is Ramatsimel Jacqueline Maisel, the head of Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. The completion of the annexure, whether these all the farms that are being listed, we can report that we got the list from from colleagues from the National Department of Agriculture, because we do not keep the records, and as we have responded earlier, since the withdrawal of the power of attorney in 2009. So as a provincial department, we are not privy to the happenings of the leasing, and where we are involved is now at the level of the support that will be required in terms of farmer support. The process of the lease has been taken back through the withdrawal of the power of attorney by the minister in 2009. Maybe that is why, Honorable Chair and members, we may not be able to talk to the specifics, which I could humbly maybe propose that we may then go back and request more information and submit it through the relevant channels to the members. But now we also, on the other hand, we didn't want to leave the question unanswered. We went as far as, help us to answer this question, then that is the information that we have been provided. And I would believe that even maybe in that further information, as Honorable Selanis indicated, even the status of the farms, is it in production, is it not in production, and how long is it, for how long has it been leased? Is it in the 5th year, is it in the 10th year, or is it, because the maximum is 30 years.
30.
So through Honorable Chair, hence I'm saying with my humble request that maybe then we could still go back and then get that much information, so that then the information that we present is complete and we can be able to talk to it. But at the moment, because we are not privy to the determination even of when the committee sits and say no, we approving the application for lease of my seller, what has informed the committee on that? Because we are not sitting as provincial government officials in the national selection committee. I think the others, there was the list of, I hope I got the question correct, list of AROP's approval. Yeah, I think.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. My name is Kalum Koni, the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. I think we will take the advice on the issue of AROPs to say we need to compile a list of all people that have been approved, so as to be able to determine whether, like we are saying, is these people not completed, or the ones that were issued are not complete. I think from time to time, I know that this matter from Auditor General and Treasurer, it arises to check whether these people are not spending time using government time to do what they were supposed to do. I think we should be able to find that and give a list. The department wants us to do the job that belongs to them. Like I earlier said, Honorable Chair, there will be some which comes to you, which you obviously want to check with us. How far have we gone? The issue is how far have we gone, like you're saying. I mean, where we come from, people will, like the Honorable Chair, the matter that he received about somebody sending WhatsApp, you know, and when it comes to us, it's what do we do about it? And that also leads to what we are saying, that let us changana, let us pay. It's not in the Bible only. What they mean, they can do as they wish. That's why nobody wants his son or daughter to grow up because I know I know when people exchange pleasantries. I want to say that obviously we want to have a clean audit, and we are saying that we have 7 outstanding matters. If you look at those, what I asked Fiona is to say, Fiona, what are the things that you have? She promised me to say the issues that are there are issues of misstatement, misrepresentation of facts, and all sorts of things, which we have agreed as a department that in December we would want to check whether we still have the recurrence of that. The information that I have is that so far there's not been those issues. All these matters are matters that came from, it's a legacy issues. The information that they told me is that they have actually responded to some of these matters. They recur because this committee also is asking again. So, and I'm saying, like I said, we're not going to do things because we want to appease the committee. One of the things that you would have realized is that those letters which were written, which need a follow-up, it's not, it's something that we have agreed as a department. We have sat down to say, let's deal with these issues. I gave an example, the issue of Balkiman school, it has a far-reaching implication. We discussed it to say, it cannot be about the lady who's working in the department responding. What about the service provider? The service provider must be asked. He must go, or she must go, and give an affidavit to say, and these are matters that we are dealing with, because we want to show that that person, as the SBD form says, that person was supposed to have declared. Maybe we take it at the face value. It may look like that. Maybe those people, if you were to investigate, you may find that these people are going to investigate, you may even check their phones. So that's where we are with Fiona and Mema Sham. and the machine. Remember, some of these things you have to drill it to them so that they must also see the other. Look, check. We have forced them. Some of the issues. Remember, like I said in the morning, they are the culprits. And to me, consequence management doesn't mean firing. And I'm the MEC for agriculture and rural development. I have a view. I cannot be disruptive, you know. So I'm saying what you have asked, obviously we'll work together to make sure that the department is in order. And where we are, even the HOD and all of us, we have agreed that we will deal with those issues. It's not like we want to, even if we appease you, it's fine, because we will be appeasing you for good reason. I mean, it was not nice the last time when we met here, asking, you know, Kaspero, Mutua, Futler, is Changana. Logosula is Changana. So I'm just saying, without wasting your time, we hope, like we have made a proposal, that we would have a monthly report, so that when we come here, we should not be seen to be doing things because we are coming to SCOPA. It's a hush thing. We'll have consequence management register. Where we are unable to take decisions, we'll say we have dealt with this issue. The people who have to take decisions will have taken the decision and make sure that we cover. And we also took cognizance of certain things, like the question you asked about the petrol. Even myself has puzzled me to say, why would a wrong person be charged? Why? Who orders diesel? Is it the office or the service? What do you call it?
The end user.
The end. You know, one of the things that I've discovered in public service is that people of supply chain, they are actually in charge. For instance, responsible directorates are no longer in charge. Everything, when you ask the supply chain, or they also think the supply chain people, and also to indicate that the supply chain manager, she has left. We are looking for a supply chain manager, the director. And when, remember, one of the things that SCOPA asked is that there are tenders which have been cancelled. When you issue out a tender, must be that you are sure you are issuing out a tender. You can't cancel it at an evaluation. It means you are shifting the goalposts. And these are the things that we are directly doing. And in the due course, we'll be able to deal with some of those issues. And as management, we are working together. One of the things that we do, we're having an executive management meeting every month, and where they report on these issues, so that we don't have to be shocked about some of these issues. So that's where we can say it's Chairperson.
I think we are narrowing down the lifespan of the meeting. And honorable members, are you fine?
100% okay.
100%. Can I get a comment from Treasury? Defense Treasury, AXA.
Thanks very much, honorable members. I'm David. Let me highlight that this department that has got a very good potential of moving somewhere else. Let me also highlight the fact that I had a meeting with the MEC. The issue of underspending, the issue of also emphasizing matters that might prevent the clean audit. I've highlighted that to the MEC. After that, I also had a meeting with the HOD. I highlighted things that I discussed with the MEC to the HOD, highlighting and emphasizing things that might prevent, and also those misstatements, I've also discussed them with the HOD. And we're always in good contacts and discussion with Ms. Fiona. And CFO was highlighting to me not so long that on the financials they're almost done. They might be left with the issue of the disclosures now. And we also highlighted the fact that it is to what we can discuss many things before you give us the financials, but the moment you give us the financial statements, it's a different ball game, because by then we'll not want to dilute our independence. And with that, we know that the department is moving very well. On the issue of consequence management, AG is now moving into material misstatement. Any transactions that is above $1 million, whether it's a loss or whatever that happens at the department, regardless of whether the department has reported on that, AG is going to report that as a material misstatement to follow it up, and if the accounting officer is not taking steps, AG will have to apply in terms of the Audit Act, where at least will make sure that at least accounting officer is either she recovers the money, or steps are being taken. That's the process where we are moving. I think whatever that the committee is emphasizing, that's where AG is now moving. Thanks very much, honorable members.
Thank you very much. AG's office. Let me see. Any comment or your commented on it?
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Tawum Pon, and the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. Chair, I am humbled by the way we have interacted this morning until this afternoon. We are taking serious on the matters that you are actually raising, and we'll see by our reports. I guess even my team will see that, because sometimes we must work as a team. I know it's very difficult, but we will try by all means to deal with that. And the Auditor General will attest to our conversation. And for me, is that what we have agreed upon, that we made a proposal that in 2 months' time we should be able to give a progress report. We should be on a monthly basis give a report. We must have a register of consequence management, and make sure that we follow up on those other issues that are actually understanding. And we will also have to talk to other, for instance, the MEC for Treasure. I would have to write to check how far are they with the Abaskas report, and make follow up on those outstanding forensic audit, so that we should be able to deal with those outstanding issues. But with your consent, we should be able to get a clean audit. I think people can say, "Wola kiflu, uno krenya na audit, clean audit ko the why apalela ki agriculture around asie So I always want to say, also that we are serving notice. Remember, we are serving notice, we are having election, and we will make sure that we deal with some of those issues from the bottom of our hearts. So that's what I can say. And thank you very much, Chairperson and honorable members.
Yeah, thanks so much, honorable members, MEC and the team, Treasury and ABSA, for the closing remarks. I think we are also humbled on behalf of the committee that we were engaging robustly and constructively with one objective of making sure that there is serious improvement in the Department of Agriculture with regard to the audit outcome. That was the main intention. Nothing personal. I used to say this committee's responsibility is to play oversight over yourselves as department or government, to check if you comply with the available regulations, the finance that governs expenditure, because government allocates money to you. And the way you responded to our question, like Honorable Pala said, we are satisfied. It's just that we'll want detail, Fiona. We'll want English, Fiona, proper, not condonement. At least maybe Rishai will written offer to which is can I finance it and a guy on, but that is not condonement. Condonement, treasury, we know that process 100%. But on a very serious note, I think this was a more engaging, robust interaction. Those I think they've got a sense and feel for what is that what we want to achieve. And we are doing this in the spirit of the commitment made by the President of the country to deal with issue of corruption, it finishes the hopes of our people. There is nobody who is going to do that on the President's behalf. It's not possible, he can't do it. We've got structures that are here to do that, and through Treasury and AGSA, we develop some capacity also on our own. They equip us, they brief us, and we're able to do with this work. And I'm also impressed, Honorable Mugoni, the way you accept the discussions. And you know, some of you, I want to be honest with you, when we're here doing our work, and they just recklessly raise those things. Now, where we are, I think there are critical issues that I want to raise for noting. Well, how should we take the process forward so that we also support the view of the Auditor General? I think the Auditor General will be on the pay. He is confident that you will move, and that's what we want to achieve, to clean audit. And we can do that if we are going to want to. Let's make sure that we do everything possible to reduce or just remove the irregular expenditure, but following two processes. Let's target irregular expenditure because it is the only vehicle that can make us to achieve that clean audit if we deal with it. Just focus there, deal with it, and avoid other or the irregular expenditure to recur. Let's assist in making sure that investigation reports that are final recommendation thereof must be implemented. But there are a lot of investigation reports, but you don't get I don't get a feel that you are implementing them. I don't get it even now. But also those investigations that are still in the process, let's find a way of pushing it so that they finalize it. Because at times I was asking myself questions, SIU have determined to investigate. If it's a banally time frame, because once you don't have an action plan with time frame, it will not be a report by investigator, 5 years come on. And it's not going to assist us. So those who are able to talk to them with the authority, just persuade them to, you need the report, we need those reports as SCOPA, and check on you whether you are implementing them. That's what is very important. You have got all SCOPA resolutions, make them your daily bread. So that all the SCOPA resolutions. In the portfolio committee, it should be a standing agenda item, implementation of SCOPA resolution. So that at the level of the portfolio committee, we can therefore play oversight on behalf of this committee, because this committee will once or twice a year. So they can monitor whether you implement. February next year, implementation. But if they go to the committee, portfolio committee, by a standing item, we're going to assist you to get out of the situation. I think the AG will look at my consequence management. To us, irregular expenditure and consequence management are two sides of the same coin. They're inseparable. If you declare irregular expenditure and consequence management, you must go back to Auditor General. No, more action, more release, or more, Treasury have condoned now Fiona. And they will smile, we will also smile. This thing, I didn't get it personalized. They are not our issues. We are just collectively doing work that we are supposed to do as per the regulations. But there is one issue that Honorable Slane raised at the end. South Africa will never be a federal country. We are a constitutional democracy, we are a unitary structure. That's why we've got an IGR framework that regulates how we should interface both national, provincial, and local. There are certain powers that are at the national level, like you're saying, issue of land. But access to information in relation to formal, official records of the department, we don't have to suffer to get it. We can't. Honorable MC, we can't talk to Toko, it is a minister. It's important for us as public representatives to know the status of the state land in Limpopo. It's not a favor. We need that information. Honorable MC. Even at the portfolio level, I'm still going to raise it. Let's deal with this thing. Yeah, information, we've got to share the information. What is happening there? What is it that people can access that information? You don't see it at the level of IGR forum on them. You don't influence anything. That is not the government of the country in terms of its constitution and operation. And I think it's something that we will be happy if we can get the detailed information, because even if you check the response, like you were saying, Alena access, you can see this report is not. I know it. You can't take this document or prefer a community somewhere about the issues of land. Because part of our struggle in the liberation of the country, it was about land. So why might you say information which was running and this is I told you. Not but we need this information so that we equip our people with information. So I think HOD and the MEC is a food for thought. It's something that I don't think I'm going to compromise, even at the level of the portfolio committee, so that we give our people information. If there are opportunities for black people in particular to access that land by developing economically, It's better. 1994. We are not participating in the economy of the country. It's a fact. In fact, we're getting more worse. There's a lot of land that is not being used. Let's use the necessary legal framework to make sure that our people are able to participate. It's not a thing. And thanks for team legislator for continuing to do the work. I hope we will continue to do such in other hearings that are still to come. The meeting is officially closed. Thank you.
Muleti. Che. Kanu na kilo hodi. Kami ka kumai na kilo.
Awa. No, just something.
Oh, yeah, something.